ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Mindset and the last step in the Lean Starter approach. The question, when do you have to pivot? If you look at even very successful companies, you might ask the question, did they really start as what they are known by today? Or was there any kind of pivot in between? PayPal's story. PayPal is an interesting story. They started with the goal to become an online payment provider. Is that right? No, they started differently. They actually started with some kind of different story. They basically wanted to make data exchange between mobile phones more secure. Security was basically the main idea, and data exchange was the target for them, so they wanted to make it more secure. Was that really successful for them? Well, you know the answer by looking at PayPal right now, but what was the story there? Well, if we go back and ask the question, should we optimize our product more to go on, or should we pivot? You should probably, as an entrepreneur, should sit down with your co-founders, with your management team on a regular basis and say, okay, if we do take our learnings, which we've gathered here in the Lean Starter approach by walking through the build, measure, learn cycle over and over again, if we do take them serious, are we on the right path? So should we further optimize our services? Are we on the path to find the right problem-solution fit? Are we on the path to find the product-market fit to be successful? Or does optimization not show any improvement and we have to pivot? We have to entirely change that. And then the interesting thing is the vision normally stays the same. With PayPal, the vision of secure data exchange stays the same, but the strategy of the company had to change. And this is the more important thing then. You can try to optimize products, but if you have to change your strategy, it's something you have to rethink a lot deeper. So how do you do that? Actually, again, you need to be honest to yourself, looking at the right data with the clear and objective thinking and acting. And you do have regular meetings on that. The product teams, they have to present in front of the company leaders and try to show how, with the right measures, not the vanity metrics, the reliable measures, the product is getting better in terms of problem-solution fit, product-market fit. And by collecting also detailed feedback of customers, potential customers, and so especially customers, not potential customers. What are signals for pivots then? If the effectiveness of those MVP experiments go down, the feeling that the product development could be more productive. I mean, it's hard to say. And remember those two websites for online CVs. What would you do as founder or CEO of a company A? Being much bigger, however, the metrics not showing in the right direction. Well, the first thing you still can do is look at the competitor B and try to understand why he is able to convert a lot better than you. If this is not the case, maybe there's different services for your customer group of students or young professionals who need CVs, and you might add those services. So interpret the signals for the pivot in the right way and try to define pivot in the right way and try to find potential pivots. How is it possible to find potential pivots? Actually, Eric Ries gives us a couple ideas of different types of pivots, changing companies, business models, or product. So you can zoom in. A partial feature of the product is becoming the new product, or you can zoom out. The product which you have is just becoming a part of the new. So the other way around. You can try to pivot the customer segment. Maybe you haven't found the right customer segment, or you haven't tackled the right customer segment. The problem is much bigger in another customer segment. You can do a platform pivot, channels, technologies, and all sorts of things. So give you two examples of doing that. 3M, perfect example. Again, we always use it. They wanted to develop a high-tech glue, but the glue did not stick. So it was basically zooming out and saying, okay, we have to find a new product with a non-sticky glue, where the non-sticky glue is a necessary part. And this is how actually the Post-its came up. YouTube is another example. YouTube basically started as an online dating website. Nobody really remembers that, but it was a video-based dating service. Singles introduced themselves by video. But what the founders of YouTube saw, that customers wanted to upload other content as well. So they basically used the platform and they broadened the service offers and customer segments in order to provide a lot more services. So YouTube is a general video platform nowadays and not restricted to singles that want to only upload their introduction on a dating platform. And these are just two examples. You've seen, again, I'm going back, more ways to pivot, and that's really important. So what you should do is sit down on a regular basis, try to understand the metrics, the real metrics, try to understand whether your product improves. If not, try to interpret the signals in the right way. And if you have to pivot, then find one of the ways. PayPal did the same. What is actually the answer to the PayPal story? They pivoted actually several times. But they started with encryption, decryption software. That was data safer from one Palm Pilot to the other. That was the main ideas. But they saw that Palm Pilots are possessed by people that are not sending so many documents. Actually, the service was not wanted. There was no real problem statement for that kind of service because data hasn't been sent around. So they looked at the process where the problem statement is the highest, the biggest. And they found out it's in sending money. Whenever you would like to send money from one account to the other, from one Palm to the other, from a website to the other, then you really do have to have encrypted decryption software to make it a real safe process. And this is why PayPal said there is a real problem statement for security. And we're the best in our security software. Again, remember the vision stays the same. We want to make data exchange secure, safer, but it's not for general documents anymore, which has been the product. And the strategy, it's the strategy now to focus on money transfer. And this is how they became one of the biggest online payment providers, at least in the Western world. There's others also which are really big. That's an interesting example for a pivot. There's more companies. There's an interesting website. You just need to Google it, which company pivoted, and you can see all those stories. So you'll find out that many successful entrepreneurs, pivoted their idea not only once.